Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land, and we are so excited because we have Chance Cessna, who is Miss Bel-Air, and she is a lot more than that, let me tell you right here. So, hi, Chance, how are you?
Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on the show.
Such a hottie!
Oh my
God!
Look at that.
Are you kidding me?
You guys are so funny.
So glad they can say it.
9:30 a.m. and she is rocking all of Los Angeles
She
right
is the
here.
epitome #Monday motivation.
Right, good call, Jesslyn. Yes.
Oh, you guys are too sweet. You're too sweet.
How do you
Thank you.
survive the Mondays? What's your motivations?
How do I survive the Mondays? Well, I think my Mondays really begin on Sundays. And it's all about going into the week, preparing for the week, coming, having your plan, having your agenda, and, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, to really get your mind centered so you can go into the week and deliver and get the results that you really want out of life.
Okay, Bam, we don't need anything more. She just summed up all of it for us, right?
Delivered it perfectly, too.
It's so true. Most of the people I know that are very successful, they map out their whole week on a Sunday night. They do it all. And they let their subconscious actually over the evening play out some of those things for them to even innovate faster.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming. One of the main reasons I wanted you to come on the show is because I want people to see and know that beauty and becoming someone like Miss Bel-Air, there's so much more that goes behind that scenes. You have to be up to so much more in your life. So what did you have to go through? I want to hear some of the things that you've been through.
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to life, you have an iceberg. And if you have an iceberg submerged underwater, it was a picture I saw, I think, on Instagram. And you see a little tip of the iceberg coming out of the water, but below the water, what people can't see, you see this huge iceberg going down into the depths of the sea. And it's built up to this point where you finally just see the tip of it. So it's so much that goes on underneath, right, the water, or underneath, behind the curtain, behind the
Sometimes it's dark down there.
Oh, it's dark, it's scary. You don't know what you're doing. It's like, am I making the right move? Am I not making the right move? So I've been through so much, from just going back. My mother passed away when I was 8 years old. What happened was we were in a car accident and she had a stroke while we were driving. And by the time the ambulance came, she had lost too much oxygen to her brain and she became brain dead. So that happened when I was 8 years old. So growing up without my mother and I had my grandmother, which I absolutely love. She was such a part of my life, but growing up without a mom, it was a call for me to do so many things for women and to be a part of things like pageants for women and other organizations. And even now I have a mentorship program I'm launching called Girls Who Conquer. And it's teaching girls how to conquer every adversity that comes up against them and every adversity that they face. So moving in, overcoming that with my mother to being homeless and sleeping out of my car and only having a dream. And it's like, what do you do when you're completely at the bottom and all you have is hope, all you have is faith? And that's what I had. And in that moment, you have to be able to see beyond your circumstance. And it's no longer being able to just see what naturally around you, but what is your heart seeing? You have to follow what is in your heart, what is in your spirit, and go with that and be led by that. And before you know it, you'll be out of the pit.
Yeah. Now we know why she won Miss Bel-Air. That was the speech she gave, and incredible. I mean, really,
so purpose-driven.
So purpose-driven.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's about being purpose-driven, and I believe when you're in a position where people are watching you, even now we're live and there's tons of people watching us, what are you going to do with your influence? What are you going to do with your platform? Because people are mimicking you. They want to be like you. And I want to set a good example because I don't have any children. I'm not married, but one day I'm going to have children, and I have a mentorship program. So I try to live a life worthy being watched and,
Yeah.
Chance, I'm very curious in this time right now why you chose pageants as that platform.
Well, pageants actually chose me. I'll say that. Pageants chose me because I didn't grow up as a pageant girl. Okay, I was a tomboy. I was running around barefoot.
Right.
I still run around barefoot and
real.
Right.
Yeah, this is such a great question because I have to say I had some stigmas. Like I thought, for the girl out there that's like, who's she? I would almost look down upon it, like these women that are getting all glamorized, they're all perfect, they're perfect in bikinis, they're perfect in whatever. It was almost like almost like it was doing a disservice to women at some level. So I'm so glad you asked that because it's an important question.
Yeah, I think it's all about personal development at the end of the day. Whether you're in a pageant, whether you're modeling on a runway, it's the same thing, or you're acting in a movie. It's about personal development, what's happening on the inside. And I believe experiences like doing pageantry, it really built my character in a way that no other experience could have built my character. Because think about it, on the other side, it takes a lot of courage to get up on stage. These are just regular women, and you know, do the swimsuit wear and do the evening wear. But for me, it's about being a queen. I am a queen. And when you know you're a queen, and I say that humbly, but also confidently, because all women, we are queens.
We are queens.
So really, it's just a platform.
That's right.
Come on.
Feeling love right now. That's a whole other, that's a whole other
How
conversation.
did pageants find you?
Well, what happened was I first started did my first pageant in college, and at that time I had a good friend. She was in the Miss USA pageant at the time and was like top 10 or top 5. And I met her and she was like, I really think you should, you know, give this a try. And I'm like, well, you know, I kind of grew up as a tomboy. I've never been like super girly or super feminine. I never saw myself that way. But she was like, it was the same for me. You know, I was a tomboy. I played soccer. You know, I was never into makeup and hair and things like that. But it was a platform for me to do things so much deeper than what was on the surface. And people see what's on the surface. They don't see what's happening underneath. And being able to build the relationships that I've built and touch the lives that I've touched, it doesn't matter what people see on the outside. It's about what's happening in me and what's happening in the people's lives that I'm touching and affecting and changing.
It's so interesting that you talk from that perspective. I worked as a Miss Florida judge for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And I would always feel so much compassion for the girls up on stage because you know how nervous you can be in front of a camera and an audience. What do you do to maintain that peaceful presence when you're up there in front of a crowd?
Wow. Well, yeah, it's an inside job. I know for me, there's a scripture that I live by that I love. It's Psalm 91, and it basically says that if you dwell in the secret place, just under the covering of God, that He'll protect you, that He'll give you just everything in that secret place. So I actually mentally and emotionally go into this secret place. So when I get on stage, whatever happens, whether I trip, whether I fall, you know, whether they call me ugly, stupid, or you know, whatever it is, it actually, it's like a shield. This word shields me, and it keeps me from really being affected by any comments, good comments, negative comments. I just kind of,
I wish I had a powerful shield like that.
Because people be acting up on those IG pictures. They really drop comments on you.
Yeah. No, so it protects me emotionally, just mentally and spiritually, being able to go to that place and just knowing that it's gonna be okay. It's whatever it is, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, my shield's like my Range Rover.
Is it? Yeah, that's in LA. It's better than my Vespa.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question. So if someone's in Los Angeles and they're like, damn, how do I get a mindset like her? I want to be just like her. Where do you hang out? What inspirational like community groups, places, are there tips for people?
Yeah, well, I know one of my favorite places to go, you know, living in California, I love to go to the beach. I love going to the water. So Marina Del Rey, they have some really beautiful restaurants that they have out there that I often go to. Salt is a restaurant that I love to hang out. They have a fabulous happy hour, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
At Salt, and it's in Marina Del Rey at the hotel there. So I love going to the water. I also...
All the guys and all
I was
the
just going to say.
I know, everyone's headed to the water
Just
now.
sold out for the next
They
year.
just sold out.
So that's a fabulous place to go to, but I try to stay active, you know, so dance classes, sand and
Love
dance
dance.
classes to keep me moving. I love salsa dancing.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
we
a lot
gotta
of
go
fun.
dancing.
We gotta go dancing.
We do,
I love
definitely.
to go dancing. So doing that and just exploring new things, you know, and of course, you know, staying in classes. So acting classes, you know, whatever classes that you like, just stay in class, continue to educate yourself on whatever it is that you love or you want to know more about.
And you've done quite a bit of acting already.
I
Right?
have.
Yeah.
I
Steve,
have.
Steve
Harvey?
Harvey,
Yeah.
you have all kinds of lineup, Parenthood, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah,
All
and
the good
funny
ones.
enough, Chance and I actually met at a red carpet for
Yes.
a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah. for
So
sure.
yeah, a couple months ago, I ran into this beautiful babe, and I wanted to know her. Her energy was just magnetic. And we started talking, and it's so funny that our worlds have brought us back here. I mean,
Yes.
you really are a woman about town in the community of Los Angeles. Has come around you and celebrated you and built you up. And you know, you were telling me a story about getting ready, you know, at the pageant and just how, you know, they dressed you, that yellow dress.
Oh, I didn't even tell you guys that part. Okay, so that's really how pageantry chose me. for that part. So when I did Miss Bel-Air, we'll back it up a little bit. When I went into Miss Bel-Air, it was completely last minute. The pageant director kept calling me saying, you got to do this pageant, you got to do it. I actually didn't want to do it. I said, look, I've done enough. It's been a wonderful experience. But out of nowhere, a stranger said, I want to see you continue in Miss Bel-Air, Miss USA, Miss Universe. So he paid for everything, for my entry fee, for everything, just maybe 2-3 days before the show. So I'm like, well, I got to do it now, I guess, because, you know, the door's been open for me. So got to the pageant, but somehow my dress sponsor fell out for my evening gown. So I didn't have any gown, no gown.
Oh, wow.
So I'm backstage and I was number 3 and they're getting ready to, they're calling my name to go out on stage before the judges. Everyone's out there.
You
And
didn't
I
have
don't,
Last minute.
no, nothing.
Her shield is this strong. I mean, that's why I wanted to tell the story.
Nothing.
Because
I had nothing. And they're like, they came backstage and said, Chance, like, why aren't you, you're supposed to be on stage. And I was still in my swimwear, because that comes right before evening. And I was sitting in my swimsuit, actually sitting inside my suitcase. I was chilling. I said, like, I'm in my suitcase, I'm chilling. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do, you know? So someone comes literally just moments before, running from the back. And they had a yellow gown in their hand, and they threw it to me, and they said, put this on and get out there. And when I put it on, it happened to fit like a glove. And it was a real Cinderella moment for me. And I went out there and I was crowned Miss Bel-Air.
Oh, I just got chills.
Like all these
Destiny.
women that were
chills,
competing.
like, yeah, like it's destiny.
Yeah.
Do you believe in destiny?
Oh, absolutely. It was destiny. You know, and sometimes we can be so stuck in our own way, we think we know how it's going to happen. And I had no idea I was going to win, because most of those girls, they have been practicing for months and getting ready. So they're like, who's this new girl coming in with no gown? She's going to take my gown.
Okay, so then I have to ask you this question.
Yes.
So if you believe in destiny,
Okay.
what do you believe your destiny is? Because you're a very purpose-filled woman
Yes.
in Los Angeles. What is that?
Well, I think at the very surface level of it, because this can go real deep, but it's about adding value to people's lives. At the core of every relationship. So even take for instance a romantic relationship. At the core of it, it's like, am I adding value to your life, and are you adding the same value, if not even more?
And I get that. And I get the whole behind the scenes of like it's all good no matter what happens. But I'm asking you more than that. Like, for example, I have felt like it's destiny to have a show. It's been something Spirit has called in, and we're so blessed to have a platform like this with so many people, the synergy around it, whatever. What do you feel like the destiny, like what platform, like what expression is that for you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I believe, I'm a TV host as well, TV host and actress, and I think that is destiny. Whatever multimedia, whether it's through, like I said, whether it's through TV hosting, whether it's through acting, but I definitely have been called to the arts. I know I'm called to the arts, and even since I was a young child, I knew that. I knew it, and I knew it so strongly that all the years growing up, I was very careful about how I talked to people, the kind of situations I got into, the kind of pictures I was taking, even very young, because I wanted to protect my image, because I knew that I needed to preserve my image for whatever it was that was going to be in store for me, that may require me to be in the public eye.
well, was there a moment when you were a child that gave you that clarity?
Well, I would say yes. When I was really young, my mother, she would always, before she passed away, she would always take me to auditions, and we were doing background for all these like kids movies. It was like crazy. We would be outside and in Chicago, and they would be doing beach scenes in the middle of winter, and it'd be 0 degrees outside.
She's like, I love
That's when you know.
Literally like 10 degrees outside, and they would have these kids in bathing suits run around on the beach. I said, I'm gonna get sick. Like, I don't know if I really want to do this career. Like, this is like real intense. But even from there, I think my mother really kind of just instilled that sense of creativity and the power of a dream. And so it's always been there for the arts and acting and TV hosting.
So nothing specific, but you just know your destiny to be in this genre.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well that's already done. You've already raised your destiny then, right?
No, it's still levels to it.
No, I get it. I get it.
And it's incredible because you're so multi-talented. So acting, are you
Right.
a dancer as well?
I am. I went to school. I minored in dance at school, so I love to dance. I don't do it professionally anymore, but I just do it for fun now.
Right.
So like if I have a role and they need a dancer for a role, then I can,
We
learn
need to
the
set a
skills.
night and all go out to Viva in Hollywood.
I'm going.
Yes,
Yeah.
so Eva Longoria's
Yeah.
new club. I went there the other week, but I wasn't with a group that really danced that much, so I didn't get to dance. So it's Wednesday nights is the hot night.
Oh my goodness.
So let's plan a night.
Let's
to do that.
salsa.
Let's dance. And I love dance because it's so powerful because it's just, you're able to release yourself in a way that you just can't, just,
Right.
sitting down. I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's liberating.
Very, very.
It's amazing. When I first moved here, I didn't realize there was such a dance scene in LA. Because when
Oh,
Miami,
yeah.
we always
Huge
dance.
dancing. Oh, yeah.
Such a strong dance.
Right?
It's incredible.
Huge thing.
Yeah.
So a little bit more about just LA.
Yes.
And so which area of LA do you live in?
Well, I live in Bel-Air.
Naturally.
I represent,
Yeah.
I represent Bel-Air for now, but I've lived in all neighborhoods. I've lived in the Valley, Woodland Hills area, Van Nuys. Oh my goodness, that was
Isn't
kinda
it
tough.
so funny how the neighborhoods have very specific personalities?
Very
talking about that.
specific.
Yeah, it very much affect your lifestyle depending on the burb you live in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you like living in Bel-Air? What's your experience like?
Let me tell you, this wasn't even my idea. I'm telling you, everything that I've done really in these last 12 months, it's nothing that I tried to pursue really hard. It just kind of happened that way. It was a family. It's a family that I know that lives in Bel-Air, beautiful family. And I was transitioning from my old place to my new place, and they said, "Hey, well, we got plenty of room. We got a big mansion in Bel-Air." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna come hang out with you guys." So that's kind of how I got in the Bel-Air community. It's not like
Right.
I'm not a billionaire.
Everything just happens
Yeah.
for this girl. She just
Fresh
like
princess
she
of Bel-Air.
walks in.
I am the Fresh princess of Bel-Air.
Things just happen,
There's
right?
something so powerful though that I'm hearing from you, and that is that when you surrendered and you accepted and you received the positivity in LA, man, it just
It happened.
It just happens, right? I know she's
there's
just
like
raw on, right?
no,
right?
but there's really like there's no words I can even use to describe the way it's given back to you and it's lifted you up and it's just created your like destiny.
Right? So beautiful. I love that you're a woman of faith too. It's so fabulous. I just want to say thank you so much
Oh, thank
for
you.
coming
Thank you
over
guys for
here.
having me.
And you're absolutely gorgeous inside and out.
Oh, thank you.
Looking forward to a night of salsa with you.
Yes.
And
fun.
and I would actually love to ask you if you'd come back sometime and give us some, like actual makeup
I would love to.
instructions. Because we're
Yeah.
around here. Did you come back for that
I
sometime?
would love to come back. We
Yeah.
can make it a whole girls' day. It's gonna be a lot of
Transformation
fun.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh
Pageant
yeah, we're gonna have like total girls' day right here, and
Or
you can
Rob,
join.
Let's do
sorry.
it. And
As Rob starts crying.
That's in LA, so
I'm happy to
right?
watch the rest of the from the video.
He was a judge in Miss Florida.
There you
so
go.
is true.
his
This is true.
opinion
Judge it all the
becomes-
whole
Y'all
time.
won't be judging. I'll just be observing. I promise. I promise.
So how can the people out there find you?
Absolutely. They can find me at Cessna on Instagram, Facebook, and then my website is itsbychance.com.
I love that URL. That's great. So stay tuned, you guys. We're just going to recap the day. We're going to recap our challenge of the month and Karma Coins, giving some updates on the games and kind of getting involved with That's So LA also. So stay tuned. We'll be right back for one last short segment.